Why do you think that so many people from California are immigrating to Texas?
Well, most of it had to do with cost of living and COVID restrictions.
So you haven't, you don't think it has anything to do with politics?
No, because most of those people, I don't know what the political affiliation of most of the people that moved is, but somebody who leans Democratic in the state of California is not going to move to Texas and vote for Greg Abbott
You don't.
Or Ted Cruz, who is definitely the most unliked senator in the United States Congress.
He's yeah, definitely not, definitely not. He's super unstable. He's definitely not somebody that Texans like. He's from Tech, or he's born in Canada, but he's a Texas senator.
Right?
But do you see that? Like, I don't know how you don't see that. Voting Democrat it ruins states.
What do you mean by ruins them?
Economically.
It can, California has the fifth highest uh, economy on planet Earth. If it was a country, it would have the fifth largest economy on the planet.
No, yeah, it does have a very.
California, California can single-handedly pay for all of Texas's bills when a hurricane or a winter storm completely ruins your state. California can flip the bill entirely. Or when a hurricane destroys Puerto Rico, or when a hurricane destroys Florida, California can single-handedly flip that bill for you and then still have $20 billion left over to waste on homelessness and accomplish nothing with it because they have that much money. California prints money unlike any other state in the union, and it's not even remotely close.
No, 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 no. Texas is the
Okay,
fourth
I don't
largest.
know what you mean
Fourth
by
largest.
no, but everything that I just said is correct. There's probably a little hyperbole in there, but we're literally
No,
the fifth largest economy
it's
on planet Earth.
fifth largest. Yeah,
Yep, fifth
Texas is
largest.
Texas is the fourth.
Yeah, that's uh, not even remotely close to true.
Texas, if Texas seceded from the United States, it would be the fourth largest
No,
in
it
the
wouldn't.
world.
Not even close.
Yes, it would.
Okay, let's just look up what the GDP of every state is.
Uh,
Looks like Texas is somewhere, well, that's really not precise. What is the total GDP of Texas? Nominal GDP 2022. California 3.6 billion? No, millions of US dollars. So California about 3.6 trillion, California about 2.4 trillion. So far less than California. So if we're 5, you're obviously not 4. Okay then.
oh, no, 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 obviously not. Okay, so but at the same time, like
Obviously
a
not,
million,
but
a million
so
bucks, a million bucks.
your argument has been destroyed. I don't know what you came here to even argue because one of the foundational things that you based it on, one of your foundational assumptions, one of your justifications was 100% incorrect. So you have to do a complete you have to completely change the way you think about this, right? So I think instead of going into but and then coming up with some excuses for things, I think maybe actually you need to do some more research and introspection because now you're just going to try to defend your position in spite of the facts, not by using
Yeah.
facts, because you already tried to do that and then you gave
I'm
a fact that
I'm not
wasn't even close to
going
true.
to negate the facts. I'm not gonna negate the facts. You're right. All
No,
I'm saying is
you need to collect some actual facts.
New Jersey, yes.
Texas, you guys don't have income tax, but your property taxes can be much higher than they are here in California, depending on where you live. Um, Gas is cheaper there than it is here, but there's also the question of what you get for your money, right? So, again, in Texas, when the weather gets below 40 degrees, hundreds of people in your state die because the state doesn't care enough to spend enough money to have a grid system that actually works. You guys wanted to be independent, and then you tried to be fiscally conservative in the stupidest imaginable way. And yeah, several hundred people died because it snowed. Like, that's just unthinkably horrible, horrible infrastructure planning on your part.
No, that
And
has
it's not your fault, but
that is not fair. That is not fair. The snowstorm, it was incalculable. It was unprecedented. The snowstorm, yes, okay, but that
yeah,
happens what,
you should.
every once 100 years, 100, maybe every 60 years.
Okay,
The
like
thing is,
if you
this.
think that
Okay,
those lives
would
are
you admit
expendable because it's rare, then
are
okay.
Californians immigrating to Texas? Tell me that.
I already did tell you that. Okay, so do you remember Hurricane Katrina? It was really bad, right?
Yes, it was horrible.
Do you think that the state of Louisiana should spend money to build levees that are even taller and even stronger, even though a hurricane like Katrina isn't likely to happen in the near future, but it definitely could happen at some point?
You're saying that
Would it be wise of them to just lower taxes and not do that, or would it be wiser of them to do it just in case? Do you think they should basically take out insurance for the people that live there through their infrastructure? Do you think they should do that or not?
but even though I know the
So
answer
this
to
is a
that,
yes or no question.
it's a yes. Obviously, it's a yes.
Yes, it's a yes. Okay, so why shouldn't Texas do it, even though it can? Like, it's not like it's the first time it's ever snowed in Texas. It's snowed in Dallas before. It's blizzarded in Dallas before.
Yep, but Californians still don't care about that. They're still immigrating
Don't
to
care about
Texas.
what?
They don't. They're still willing to take the risk. Is what I'm saying.
Sure, sure. We still have 39 million people, the fifth largest economy on planet Earth, home to some of
Yeah,
the
but
most
that economy
influential and
is
important
diminishing.
technology
That
sectors
economy is
that that
diminishing.
that better the quality of life for everybody on the planet. What is it that Texas does for the world? Could you tell me that?
What is it supposed to do for the world?
So literally nothing. Okay.
No, yeah. What is it supposed to do? What is it? Why is Texas responsible for any other part of the world?
You yeah, if you want to just choose to be selfish and not contribute to your fellow man, then you have every right to do that, but I don't understand what how that makes you
Oh, I get
superior
it.
to
I get it.
anybody
So
else. So, like,
you're
I literally
saying
just
that
asked you, does your state contribute anything to the world? And there is nothing that you can come up with. So
you're
then you
saying
just
that
say, yeah, well, why?
California is like it's just like a project. You're saying California is a project for the entire world.
California is a project for the entire world. No, that doesn't make any sense at all.
You're saying that it's a model. It's a model that the world should follow.
No, I didn't say that at all. I asked you, what good has Texas done for the world? And you couldn't come up with anything. Now you're just telling me what I am telling other people about California, even though I never said anything remotely close to that. So please don't put words into my mouth.
In other words, the model that California is trying to follow is failing, and the citizens are responding to that.
Fifth largest
The
economy in the
citizens
world.
are
The
responding to
economy
that
is
failure,
growing.
and they are leaving that model.
Yeah,
They're leaving it. They're
some of the
literally.
people are choosing to move to a different state. That happens. There are trends
What
like
is
that.
that? Doesn't that shouldn't that be a reflection of how terrible the model is?
No.
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 So you could say no.
Okay, a couple of years ago, several hundred people died because your state couldn't keep the power running. So your state has a terrible model. Yes or no?
Okay, so if
All right.
you
All right.
can prevent,
That was a yes or no question.
wait, what? What did you say?
Several hundred people died during the winter a couple of years ago because your state didn't have the means to keep the power on. So does your state have a good model or a bad model?
I mean, several hundred people died. 100 people? You're talking about?
From an easily preventable problem, yes, because you couldn't keep the power on during a winter storm. This is the third time I've repeated this now. So the question is, does your state have a good model?
It 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 robust against that. Yes, it is robust
It
now.
grows robust against that. So
Yeah.
that meant absolutely nothing at all. That statement was
So you're
so
saying that
vague that
if if
it didn't
if
say
that
anything
storm
about
if that
anything.
storm hit again, if that storm hit again, fewer people will die. Is what I'm saying.
How do you know that? What steps did they take?
Well, I guess we're only gonna know if the storm hits again. We're only gonna know that.
So you don't know. You're just saying that that's what will happen. Okay, this is interesting. So anyways, here's the reason why I asked you that question. There are people that moved out of California, so you say the model of how California works is failing. That's idiotic. Just because some people leave, even if it's a sizable number of people, that doesn't mean that the model is failing, right? In Texas, you had all those people die from the winter storm. Now, that's obviously really bad, but I wouldn't say the model of what Texas is failing despite that, right? So that's why I brought that up because I was guessing you were going to say no, it doesn't mean that Texas is failing, blah, blah, blah. Because you know what? Fair enough. That isn't what that means. Also, exactly how just because some people moved out of California since the pandemic, that doesn't mean that the model is failing. I don't know what kinds of things you think are important and should be cared about, but again, our GDP in California is fifth highest in the world, and we have economic growth year after year. In a lot of places, their GDP numbers are going down. Ours are going up. Uh, California grows more food than any other state in the country. Having food is, you know, I would say pretty darn important, right? So that's where we get this. What has Texas ever done for the world? You couldn't come up with anything. What does California do for the world? Plenty of things. Are you on an iPhone?
Yeah.
Okay, those are designed here in California. They're made in China, like a lot of things are, but they're designed here in California. Um, so there's that as well. Maybe not the most meaningful thing, but it is literally the means of communication that you and I are having right now. So yeah, this whole California is failing thing is just it makes absolutely no sense.
I mean, I don't want you to think that I'm thinking California is failing, but it should be evident that people don't believe in the model. Even Californians, enough for them to move to Texas.
Yeah,
Enough for them to move to Texas. It should be evident that there's
it's
something
evident
wrong with
for those
California.
people. There, if you go around Texas and talk to people, I guarantee a lot of them think that Texas is the most absolutely bass backwards state in the union. You had a bunch of kids murdered at one of your schools, and they've done nothing except threaten and intimidate parents who dare to speak out about it. Your governor didn't do a single thing about it. He pretended to be outraged, but really he's just going to have the backs of all those people in that community, for example. You acknowledge that your senator is just kind of a joke, Ted Cruz. Nobody really likes him, right? So you can find people in Texas that think, oh, I can't stand Texas, right? But I guess at the same time they're okay with living there, but some of them are going to move too. I don't know how many people moved out of California. Let's just say it was a quarter of a million. It wasn't. There are
It
39
was
million
more than
people
that.
that live
It's
here.
more than that.
For
A
those
quarter of
people,
a
they
million
chose
is
to
way
leave.
more than that.
That's 1% of that's well, it's not. It's like what? Let's just say 1% of the population. So 99% of the people are saying this is fine. Maybe it's not perfect, but instead of just giving up or saying "Meh, meh, 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 meh," let's work to try to improve it. So you're just drawing. You're saying, well, obviously it doesn't work because of some thousands of people that choose to move. This doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Uh, it doesn't make sense that for me to
No,
bash
it doesn't make any sense.
California,
The
but
logic you're using doesn't make any sense. Like if two teams played basketball and one team lost by 100 points, but the team that lost by 100 points scored first, and you were sitting here being like, yeah, they dominated. That's kind of what this is like. It just doesn't really make any sense.
well, I mean, obviously you're slightly biased because I'm guessing you're from California.
I live here, but I'm not from here.
You look like you're from New Mexico or Arizona, somewhere like that.
What does that mean? Somebody from New Mexico looks a certain way? You're thousands of miles off, by the way.
All right,
So
that's pointless.
I don't know what you
Yeah,
meant by that, but
that was pointless. That was pointless. All I'm saying is this. All I'm saying is there's a reason. There's a reason that people do not agree with the politics that are currently happening in California, and
in Texas.
maybe they're forecasting, but they're obviously immigrating to Texas. And of all those people that have currently and are that are currently living in Texas, they still voted red. They voted
You
red.
don't know that. You don't know who moved. You don't know where specifically they moved, into what districts they moved, and who they voted for. You don't have that information. You simply don't. Okay?
I don't.
You
I
don't.
don't.
Like
But
correct.
I
Okay,
will say
so I
this.
again, once again, I don't know why you're saying some of these things.
I guess the only reason I'm saying them is it has to do with the fact that they they moved here
Yeah.
from California, a blue
Yeah.
state, a blue state.
Yeah.
They moved to a red.
249. Wow, I was almost exactly right. Yeah. 249,239 people moved out of California from 2020 to 2022 or whatever. For those people, they didn't like it. For the other 39 million people, they thought it was just fine. Okay? You're obviously in a state as big as California. The idea that you're going to find people that don't like it there isn't even remotely surprising at all. At all.
No, a good
Just like we
argument,
talked
a
about
better
how
argument,
there are tons of people that live in Texas that can't stand it.
yeah, a better
Less than
argument for you,
1% of the population of California moved out. Less than
a
1%.
better argument for you, a better argument for you would probably be looking up how many Texans moved to California, and then that's probably where you would shut me up.
Okay. By the way, that's just how many Californians moved out of the state. I don't know what percentage of them moved specifically to Texas. So there we go.
Yeah, like in other words, like Texans are not moving to California.
Okay. And
Why would you ever leave California? California is fucking a beautiful state, dude. Like the coastline, the beaches, the
okay, well then why don't you move here then? Sounds like you prefer California over Texas.
no, I hell no, no. There's no way. I've been to California. I've been to San Francisco. I've been to
Yeah, and it's beautiful and there's mountains in the coast, like you just said. No, I
California.
don't.
For gun control. Texas is not, and
Uh-huh.
and it neither is Chicago. Chicago for gun control? 100%. Illinois, 100%. But yet,
Yep.
some of the most heinous crimes exist in Illinois.
But yet
But
you cut
yet,
out.
but
But yet.
yet, no one says anything.
But yet. No, people say quite a lot of things. You know that a lot of people live in Illinois, right?
That is true. That is true. Yes.
Okay, so if we had let's say we have two cities. In one city there are 10 people and every one of them is killed in by gunfire. And in another city, 1 billion people live there and 11 of them are killed by gunfire. In the big city, more people were killed by gunfire. But which one statistically is the most dangerous?
Obviously. It's obvious. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
It's obvious what?
That the person that's statistically
The small town,
this
right?
yeah.
The small town, right? So Illinois overall has the gun death rate is, this is per 100,000 people, right? Usually death rates are this many people per 100,000. So in Illinois as a whole, it's 14.1. Guess what it is in Texas?
I mean, I already know what it is.
Okay, well, you know, so just tell us.
It's 15.4.
This one I'm looking at says 14.2, but that's very similar, right? So, no meaningful difference between Illinois and Texas. By the way,
No
California,
meaningful.
one, two, three, four, five, six. California has the seventh lowest rate of gun death. Can I, here, I want to just read the list of the states that have the highest rate of gun death, and I want you to tell me what they have in common. Mississippi, Louisiana, Wyoming, Missouri, Alabama, Alaska, New Mexico, Arkansas, South Carolina, Tennessee, Montana, Oklahoma, Kentucky, West Virginia, Georgia, Idaho. Yeah, do you notice the theme there?
They're all conservative.
Yes, except for oh no, South Carolina's pretty reliably Republican, I guess. New Mexico's pretty reliably Democratic. That was the one. Yeah, so there we go.